that. So, all right, it looks like we are live. Hopefully, you guys can see us. If somebody will say something in the little chat box and say, "Hey, we see you," then we'll go ahead and get started. I always like to make sure. I don't want to be talking to just ourselves. That wouldn't be the.
I do it all the time.
Well, I guess I do too. But there is a little bit of a lag, so I just want to make sure that we're good to go before everybody, before we get started into the real meat of things, because we have so much to cover. I know that Jay is just a wealth of information when it comes to this topic, so just want to make sure you guys can see us. So anyway, all right, they see us. We're good to go.
That's good, everybody.
Hey, okay, so today we have an amazing guest with us. Jay Qualls is one of the most amazing and qualified people that I know of as far as cake businesses go. He is a master in this arena and definitely someone worth talking to, and we are going to at the end do a giveaway for a consultation, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that part. And so we're talking about a consultation from Jay Qualls, major good information, and I mean this is a huge giveaway. This is priced at $150.
Yeah, because I don't do this for free, as you know.
No, well, nothing should be, right?
We shouldn't work for free. I feel like this is a really good opportunity to be able to help somebody, recognize some key points and establish a point of view for their own company. So I'm excited to do it.
I think it's perfect. Well, and I was so excited. I mean, I wanted to have you on, Jay, and I wanted to be able to talk about business stuff because I know that you know so much. And when we got talking, I thought, well, we need to have something that we can, offer to these people, something, because I know that we all love the giveaways and all that kind of stuff, and just something more, because once we're done here, people are going to want more. I know they are.
I hope so.
So.
It would be awesome, honestly, if I could just stand on a gigantic stage somewhere with a microphone or a megaphone and just preach for 2 or 3 hours just for free. Just if I really could pull that off, just to educate this industry and bring it back to where it really needs to be, I swear I would. I really would. I mean that.
Well, it's worth it.
We're in trouble here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, maybe we can make that happen one day. Who knows?
We'll put that up to the cake gods.
That's right. Yep. Maybe we'll do a CakeFu event someday. That would be fun.
We'll talk.
All right. Sounds good.
We'll talk.
I love that. Okay, so we are going to first do an introduction of you, Jay. Tell us, where you came from, how you got started. I mean, you have huge credentials, so we want to know all about where you've come from, and then we'll get into, the real meat of things and the message that you have to share today, because it's amazing and everybody needs to hear it. So let's start with how you got started into cake decorating.
So way back in 1995, it was coming up on my daughter's first birthday. April the 26th, 1995 was her first birthday, and we were extremely poor. I was still in college. We had just bought a house. We have a new baby. It's been a rough year, and everybody that, especially in this industry, I know people can relate to that totally. And so I felt like my little precious princess needed a sweet birthday cake, and honestly, I wasn't impressed with the supermarket in our little town. And I mean, it's fine, but I wanted something better, as many people do on their first birthday. I have a philosophy about that, and everything's relevant with me. So I knew that my 8th grade art teacher, Miss Myrna Inman, was a cake decorator. She decorated a few of my friends' cakes for their wedding, and I watched her, and I was so intrigued by it. So I called her up, and asked her, I said, I can bake a cake, but I don't know how to make that frosting, and I don't know how to make that cake get really smooth without getting crumbs all in it and all this stuff. So she said, well, I'll be glad to help you. And so she taught me how to make the buttercream, American buttercream, and she gave me a pastry bag and a shell border tip, and she showed me how to. I didn't know there was 3 consistencies of frosting, so I learned that very quickly. But I iced that cake. That quarter sheet cake took, oh my gosh, it just had happy birthday and borders around the top and borders around the bottom, and happy first birthday, Lauren, I think is what it said. And that took me like 8 hours to ice that cake. It was perfect, but it was nuts. And then during that process, I just fell in love with the art of decorating cakes, and the rest is history. That's honestly, people started asking me, like from that birthday party, they started asking me, you should do our cake, would you do our cake? So I started doing cakes from home back in 1995. I did my first, that was in April. In July of that year, I decided to do my first my first wedding cake just for fun, So I made this tiered wedding cake buttercream monstrosity, and it had columns. Like I knew nothing. Okay, so when I hear you guys talking, I promise I understand, but I knew nothing. Guess what? My parents have passed, but we were going through things in their house like probably a year ago. My mother videotaped me and that wedding cake. And I found the videotape of that wedding cake. Oh my gosh. I'd be mortified to show it to anyone, but of its time, that's what I'm going to say. But from that point, it stood, it was stable, and then I took on the biggest cake I'd ever done that September. My best friend's sister got married, and I took on this gigantic wedding cake, and I was like, I'm going to do it. And I did that, and then honestly, I fell in love with doing wedding cakes and decorating from that point. I had pushed myself to do some things that I had never done before. And honestly, that's the quote I put on most of my things is Robert Browning says, your grasp should always be higher than your reach. And I live by philosophy, and I live by J-isms is what we call it. I live by that, and I try to really walk what I say. And I'm brutally honest about my experience and where I came from, and I'm going to be brutally honest with you. Somebody needs to tell you the truth.
Yeah, very true. Okay, and you've also had some experiences with Martha Stewart, television, magazines, all that kind of stuff.
Looking back, it's really strange, guys. I mean, I'm this guy from Middle Tennessee, self-taught. I had 2 classes in my whole life. Nick Lodge, I had a class with Nick Lodge on my birthday 5 or 6 years ago that I did some flowers with. And then Kathleen Lang, I sat in her class. I tried her Lambeth class, and it was a wreck. For people who are pipists, you already have bad habits. So those were my 2 experiences. So just so you know, in 2008, I had no clue what royal icing was. And when Martha Stewart called me, I was like, oh, well, I mean, you don't say no to Martha. I mean, and I got chosen to do a cake for her 15th anniversary edition of Martha Stewart Weddings, alongside Wendy Cromer, Mark Joseph, Sylvia Weinstock, Kate Sullivan, and myself. And they assigned me the royal icing calligraphy cake. And so that was a huge, huge, huge opportunity for me. And then I went on to do Cake Boss, season 1 of Cake Boss, Next Great Baker. I went on and did very well on that, and that was an experience. I recently did The Taste on ABC, season 2 of that. That was really an experience. I might have thrown a hissy fit and got kicked off, but that's all right. The other thing, let's see, what else have I done? Oh, I got chosen by Martha as one of the top 63 pastry pros in America. Brides Magazine named me one of the top 100 wedding cake designers in America. I've been on the cover of Southern Living Weddings, featured in Southern Living Weddings in Style. Martha Stewart Weddings recently, I was featured there with a make-your-own mold transfer that I use, the bird motif. I love, love, love that cake. I look at that cake, it makes me so happy. What else? Southern weddings. I've done lots of magazines, lots of celebrities. You know, living here in Nashville, I've been afforded the opportunity. My goal was to do one female vocalist in my career, and I've done 5 female vocalists in the country music world, weddings, and I am beyond over the moon about that.
That is so awesome.
It's so awesome. I want to do Loretta Lynn's birthday cake. That's the only one left that I really want to do, or Dolly's, but Loretta's is coming up in April.
Dolly's would be awesome, wouldn't that?
Listen, y'all, so I did Miranda Lambert's birthday cake 2 years ago, and I got to Blake wanted me to take it to, this was before I did their wedding cake, actually, so I think it was before. But anyway, I was going to surprise her at the CMAs backstage. So I was backstage with all these country artists because nobody knows this, but I love karaoke, and my dream was to be a country music artist one time.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to be a country music artist, but living here in Nashville, you know, everybody can sing and everybody can play. So I was like, I might still do it. You never know. But I was standing back there, and Loretta Lynn was singing with Sheryl Crow and Miranda on stage, and this was before I presented the cake. And I was back there with all these famous people that I had admired and, you know, my whole life. And Loretta comes walking through in her, you know, ridiculous dress, and that is just her, and ridiculous in a good way. If you know me, you know I mean that with all sincerity. But she walked by, and Amelia, I swear I have never gotten starstruck before, really. Even with Martha sitting like
right there, yeah.
Starstruck, I literally started weeping, like oh my God. Like I'm such a fan of her, and I always want to do her birthday cake. And so, you know, I still have goals and aspirations too, and success is really important to me for a lot of reasons. You know, having been in a corporate world, Amelia, and understanding business, and my background was in healthcare, but it was in the business side of healthcare, and then studying business, I was very fortunate in the fact that I had a business background before I started doing cakes. And it took me really 2 to 3 good years of making lots of mistakes in running my bakery, deli. I did that the first 2 years. I ran both and did catering and did every cake that came through the front door. So when I say I have done it and made the mistakes, all of this did not. Y'all stop messaging me on Facebook. I'm just saying. I'm going to tell you. I don't know who it is. Peggy, but I hope it's not Peggy Tucker. But look, I'm not going to switch over right now. Stop.
It's all good. It's all good. You can check on it later, right?
But the point is, what's brought me to this point today, and is not only like a lot of hard life lessons, but a lot of like human error and humbling myself to the point that to think that, you know, I've got to create something incredible that's better than what's out there, and humbling myself to know that I'm not the smartest person in the world and I'm not the savviest business person in the world. But I think knowing when to say when is one of the smartest things people can do, and knowing when to like take your guard down and allow people to give you advice and really listen. I don't know everything there is to know about this business. There's still so much to do and so much work that we have to do. And I'm learning something new from every client that I've taken on this past year. And I learn something extraordinarily new every day that I'm really like, really? You know, but I think that's probably one virtue that I think you really have to embrace, is being able to humble yourself to say when. And even with all the things I've accomplished and done in the past 7 to 10 years, with a lot of risk, I mortgaged my house. I got laid off. That's how I opened my cake shop in October 2004. I wrote the business plan. I laid on the couch for 3 months, seriously, in a depressed state, which is not me. I'm not that person. But my family and everybody was like, what is wrong? I'm like, what am I going to do with my life? I'm 35 years old. I had a successful career making 6 figures in a job that I absolutely loved. And one day they decided they were done with me, and because they merged. And I was doing a good job. That's what they told me. But so because somebody was a senior person in the other company where they merged, I was the junior company, and it's just the way it is. And that was the beginning of that recession, I think. Mm-hmm. And so I licked my wounds for about 3 months and then decided I'm never going to put myself in that position again. And I see that a lot of times here. People either want to stay home with their kids. Most of this industry, obviously, is women. And most people want to be able to have a good quality of life while taking care of their kids, and it's a hard balance, Yes. And I have 2 kids. When I started this, my kids were like 11 and 9, or 12 and 9, and they're 24 now, and 21. So I understand when I still did soccer. I coached soccer. I went to cheerleading. We had baseball. They both played soccer. One cheerleaded, one played baseball, one played, piano, and that we were involved. So I get that aspect of it. I want people to understand that. When I'm sitting with you and I'm criticizing you and I'm hammering down on you and I'm giving you the real truth, that comes from knowing exactly where you're sitting. Sitting in your shop I literally was at my shop for 5 days one time working on a stadium cake for a Titan, Tennessee Titan. I took my meals there. I bathed in the sink. And I could not afford to leave because it was a last-minute job that I did charge for, by the way, a lot. And I didn't want to let my client down, So I've been in almost every facet of it. And having that business background, I realized my epiphany was we were buying McCormick extract because it's such a good, stable product. We liked it. We were putting it in our batter. We were putting it in our frostings and stuff. My epiphany was, I was like, why am I not making money? We're so busy. We have books booked out, cakes booked out a year. We're doing consultations every day. This is when I switched to just doing special occasion and wedding cakes. And I finally looked at my partner and I said, we need to audit ourselves because we're hemorrhaging money somewhere because we have the revenue, but everything that comes in goes right back out, and I can't understand why. That is the crux of business. If you don't know where your revenue is coming from and where your expenses are going, you are going to collapse. Mm-hmm. That is a foundation that's built on sand. And you can never take your eye off of it, ever, ever.
So let's talk about this. How do you go about pricing things out? How do you figure out a minimum serving and all of that?
Well, there's not a science to this industry. There's not. There's
not. I think that's why it's talked about so much.
It is, and especially pricing. And stay off Facebook, putting your prices on Facebook. Come on. Whiz. You're going to get such a sample of randomness, and it's just going to create havoc, and just stop putting, what would you charge for this? Because everybody is going to charge something different because everybody has a different perspective on their work. Everybody works at a different pace. The thing about this industry is everyone is so unique, and that is the best thing about this industry and the worst thing about this industry from a business perspective. When you go to price, let's use the strawberry extract example as an example for pricing. For me, I can speak about this personally because it happened to me. It happened so secretly and so quietly that I didn't even notice it, okay? Because we were going to, say, Walmart to just pull the 2-ounce bottles of strawberry extract, and we would buy 4 at a time, and we would buy lemon extract, and we would buy, orange extract because it was good. It was a solid product that was easily accessible. And it was $2.24, $2.28, whatever, a 2-ounce bottle. OMG. How many ounces are in a gallon?
A lot,
64 or something like that, or more. I don't know right now. And the point is, I was like, how much are we paying for strawberry extract? When I was looking at our expenses, because I used QuickBooks as my software at the time, and I could run a report to see where we were spending, and those reports you should look at like every day. You should have something in place that you can scroll down there and go, if something jumps out at you that's different or there's a high number, you should automatically drill down and find out why. All right? People aren't doing that on any level most of the time in this, from what I know. And I just took the survey. You all took the survey, and it is telling. But the strawberry extract, truly, and I'm being brutally honest here, I was paying $180 a gallon for strawberry extract.
Ouch.
I know, right?
Ouch.
Because it was convenient and it was easy, and I trusted it, and I was so attached to what it did for my batter or whatever. I couldn't see. I was stepping over a dollar to pick up a dime, and I went, oh my gosh. I mean, that was my day. I went, oh no, oh no, oh no. If I'm doing this on this item, I must be doing this on everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I call it the strawberry extract syndrome.
I love that.
You know, strawberry extract normally makes you happy, but it made me have heart failure. And from that point on, the strawberry extract syndrome attacked me, and I started auditing myself. We were not only doing it for strawberry, we were doing it for lemon and orange and almond. Almond was even worse because we were buying almond, and it's like $3.40 a 2-ounce bottle.
Yeah.
I found it online, a very comparable extract online at a cake supply company for $14.95 a gallon.
Oh, and that saves so much.
Oh, it's my paycheck.
Yeah, exactly.
I started getting a paycheck after that audit. Legit. I started being able to write myself a paycheck along with my employees after that one little audit. It wasn't little. Oh my God. Literally, I started drawing about $1,500 to $1,800 a month out of my company. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't you like to have that paycheck?
That would be amazing.
It changed my life. It changed my life in so many ways. And now, looking back, you know, with all of the successes in every, you know, you can say a lot of things about me, but you can't say that I don't understand this industry. You can't say that I'm not successful in this industry. I'm not a master sugar artist, okay? But I do what Jay does. And when I started this, I didn't have every tool. I couldn't afford to buy cake tools. I literally used the head of a hexagon bolt one time that I sanitized and bleached and steamed to make honeycomb on the side of fondant because I didn't have anything else. And I think that that's what pushed me to be different in this marketplace early on when I was doing cakes. And I look back at my cakes and they look like absolute crap. I mean, I've come so far. And if you're not growing in this industry specifically that's changing on a daily basis, and the consumer for this industry is changing on such a daily basis that and you're not recognizing that, you will fail. Mm-hmm. I've seen it a million times. And the number one reason that people fail, and they romanticize this notion of sitting in this beautiful shop with beautiful cakes sitting around you and hoping that people will just walk through the door and then you're going to produce anything that they ask and you have creative freedom and creative liberties to be able to do that. That's all true. But there's a price that's attached to every single one of those romantic chapters that you're writing. There's a price. And it's legit, and the numbers do not lie. So I did it, okay? I wanted to make muffins. I wanted to make desserts in my deli every day and sell jam on my counter. I wanted it. I romanticized the idea of having this beautiful shop and coffee shop and deli where I would make sandwiches and desserts and treats with my family's recipes and pay homage to my family. I mean, how many times have we heard this? Okay?
I think everybody has that dream.
Everybody has that. Everybody has it. And so I put my best foot forward. I cashed in my retirement at 35 years old. I mortgaged my house. I've got 2 kids in high school, about to go to middle school and high school, and then go on to college. I'm taking a huge risk here. My point of all of this is that I get it. I get it that you love the industry. I get it that you love the art. I get it that you love working for yourself as an entrepreneur. but you have got to be brutally honest. And there's people everywhere that are educated to be that major in entrepreneurship. I majored in business and marketing and art, but there's people everywhere that have degrees in hospitality and restaurant management, and that's kind of what we are. We're in that food industry management type thing, and there's people with master's degrees and PhDs in this. There's finance, finance degrees. This is a business, guys. This is not. And if you're, let's define something too, real quick.
This is a really good point too. I know what you're gonna say.
You know what I'm gonna say. Right?
Absolutely, yes.
I'm about to speak in sugar tone. I gotta calm down for a second. If you are charging for a product that you are producing, and you get money, and you exchange money with a consumer for a product, you are in business. Period.
I love that look on your face.
You don't have a website. I don't care if you don't advertise. I don't care if it's word of mouth. If you're exchanging funds between two people for a legitimate, tangible good or service, you are in business. And what comes along with that is the responsibility to pay taxes, to pay insurance, to be legit, to respect your client, to know your cost, know your overhead, understand your product, understand your medium, and charge fairly. It's non-negotiable. And the problem with our industry right now, Amelia, is that people aren't doing this. And it's driving the industry into the ground. And for the people who are doing this, it makes it 100 times harder for us to be successful.
I could not agree with you more. I think that, and you said at the beginning, there's a sickness in our industry. We really need to get down to the core of this.
It's a weird conundrum, because when I've studied cases of business, like in my business law classes, we studied real cases of litigation between business scenarios. Okay, I've never seen an industry that is so I hate to use this word, but it's so molested with oddities. People that are in this industry, they start out as a hobby a lot of times, like myself, okay, or they start because they love the art of the industry and they want to learn a craft. I mean, because essentially it's a craft. Until you get to the point where you're doing it like we've done it, it's not a craft anymore, it's a job. I think what's happened is that there's such small benign intricacies that happen through the natural fruition of development of a person that it's kind of created this cancer inside the industry that nobody even recognizes until it's too late, and you either shut down or you fall down just about to collapse from working so hard.
Yeah, well, I think the most important part is getting from that point of hobby to actual business, recognizing that that's what you're doing, like you just said, and finding, writing out an actual business plan, making sure that you realize that, I think that there are so many cake decorators out there that are stuck in that in-between phase, and they can't seem to get to that next step, and it's really bringing the whole industry down.
Well, and it's very interesting because cake has changed even since I started doing this in 2005. From 2005 until 2010, just in that period, a lot of things changed. We had cake on TV for the first time. Duck did a great job. I think he did a very good job about giving insight to the general consumer about what a cake, what the process is to produce a custom designed cake. I think he did the best job of any show on TV. Food Network Challenge really was the first show that the consumers had insight to, and then we had Amazing Wedding Cakes and Extravagant Wedding Cakes. But it's so edited and so manipulated, and even Next Great Baker, nobody you don't even know like what actually happens. I mean, I have a love-hate relationship with TV. Okay, I said I wanted to be famous for what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I didn't care. That's what I wanted. I wanted to be known for what I said in this next career. I wanted to be known for what I do. I want to leave a mark. Well, I'm leaving some marks, and they're leaving red spots, and that's okay. All right, I'll leave a mark however I can. But we don't have a good the general educating your consumer. I think is the beginning of this process. I think because I think the consumer has been so misled in what we do that they can't, and they don't mean anything by this. That's the problem. You know, they don't mean, you know, I want a cake. I want this. I get this all the time. I want a 3-tier cake for to serve 40 people. Okay, I'll stack 3 cupcakes on top of each other and send it to you, and you can divide it however you see fit. Because a 40-person cake is not going to be 3 tiers. People, stop pricing by the tier, by the way. Our industry standard here is by the serving. It is an industry standard. Wilton set that standard many, many, many years ago, and it's really the only thing that we could use to back up if we ever had a dispute. We can, if we use that industry standard, a 2x2x1 or a 2x4x1 serving size for a wedding cake and a 2x2 square for a party cake, that's printed. That's an industry standard that has been printed and tried and true for many, many years. There's charts out there that are published that you can use. Pick your chart, but stick to it, because you can defend that with a client. See, and that's educating your client. And if you educate your client from the very beginning and you know who your client is from the very beginning, that's the problem. You guys are taking anything you want. Anything that comes through the door, you take it. All business is not good business. It's not. I mean, I had a girl yesterday. Yesterday, I did a tasting with her. We did the cost accounting on her cupcakes that she was charging. She was charging $2.50 for her cupcake. I know she's on here, and I love you, but I'm using her as an example. I'm not going to call your name out. You know who you are. I'm not above calling names, but I'm not going to. I'm keeping it classy today. We're in church. So, we're a CakeFu church.
That's right.
So this is the thing we realized. She was giving a 2 dozen cupcakes. She was paying her client $5 to take her cupcakes after we did the cost accounting. She was, listen to what I'm saying to you. We legitimately, she used Cake Boss as her software. We plugged in the numbers. When we really plugged in the numbers, and we paid her $10 an hour, by the way, and that wasn't enough. I think it was 10 or 12. That's not enough. If you are a skilled decorator, you need to be making $15 to $18 an hour, especially if you're doing custom cakes. Absolutely. And I really think 20 to 22 is more legit, because supermarket decorators make $12 to $15 an hour, $11 to $15 an hour on average, to just ice borders and ice cakes. You know what I mean? So if you're doing custom work, you really should be making 18 to 20. So she was really losing more because she's good. She has a very good product. She was also making it from scratch. This is not to hurt anybody's feelings, because we are all very personal about our recipes. But let's just pause for a second and talk about that. Scratch cost. These people already aren't willing to pay for custom work. You are not if you're a custom wedding cake designer or a custom cake designer, and you're producing custom cupcakes and cake pops and custom cookies especially that are very labor intensive, and custom celebration cakes, and you are making you're making it from scratch, or if you're using a mix as your base. It's no secret, people. Everybody in this industry uses the mix. It's no secret. I'll get to that in a second. But if you are, the way people are thinking here is Amelia, they think that they're competing with their supermarkets.
That's
The
absolutely
consumer
not.
thinks they're competing with the supermarket. They're not going to the supermarket because they can't get what they can get from a custom cake designer. Well, what comes along with a custom cake that they can't get at the supermarket is a custom price. It's a luxury, and that luxury has a price on it. It's luxe. And if you want a luxury item, you have to pay a luxury price. Or go to the supermarket. But guys, you are not competing with the supermarket. You're not competing with them. That is not who you're competing with. And for you, let's just
take a breath.
Look, I have my favorite recipes that I absolutely love. I love them. We all do. But if you think that you are arrogant enough that you can create something that Duncan Hines and Betty Crocker and Pillsbury has spent millions and millions of dollars doing taste tests and marketing tests and quantitative analysis and qualitative analysis on the same consumers that you are selling to, if you think you are arrogant enough to provide something better at a cost savings that is cheaper than a supermarket, you are a fool.
You know, if you're going to be doing anywhere near supermarket prices, you can't do scratch at all. There's no possible way.
Thank you for reiterating that, because I know this and I'm so passionate about it because I hear that on a daily basis. My buttercream's the best. No, it is not. Your buttercream is damn buttercream. Okay? It's buttercream. It's butter and sugar and vanilla and what. Don't give me that crap. I'm not laying the eggs that the chicken that I'm putting in my cake. I'm not refining the sugar. I mean, I'm not producing the oil. Give me a freaking break, y'all. Get over it. You, by the way, you're taking so much risk when you're using from a scratch. Like right now here in Tennessee, we're expecting like 6 inches of snow tonight and ice. And when you're baking from scratch, your sugar, your flour, you know, everything is affected by the humidity, the atmosphere, your oven, everything is affected. And to get consistent, those mixes have been formulated to be consistent for the novice. And what you do as a custom cake baker, designer, decorator, whatever, you take you take that base and you turn it into something special. All right? That's what you're charged with doing. Quit trying to be something and beat that system, because you aren't. Now, if you've got an I met a lady in Louisiana who does organic cakes, all right? I said, well, I'd like to know the cost. She said, we have a minimum of $1,500. I will not make a wedding cake for less than $1,500, because I said, you know what? You don't have to say anything else, because I know what she's done is she knows her market. She has a niche in the market. She's created a niche in the marketplace, and those people who want organic are going to be driven to her, and they're going to buy organic, and they're going to pay an organic price, and they know it, because that consumer is a prime example of an educated consumer. And our consumers that we're selling to, not just brides don't know, and the people in this that we're selling to on an everyday basis, guys, their palate is about as refined as Duncan Hines. That's all they know. They don't care. Honestly, they don't care. I care. I love my mother's coconut cake. I love it. I love her chocolate cake. I love it. It's the best. It's my favorite. I tried making it for my wedding cakes. It didn't hold up. It was never the same. You know, I'm like, okay, and when it's never the same, by the way, when it is never the same, guys, that is costing you money. That is the whole point here of this. If it doesn't turn out exactly the same every single time, you are losing your butt, because your profits are about this big to begin with, and that's for the people who know what they're doing. That's for the people who understand their overhead and their cost of goods, which, by the way, on the survey that I put out, over 71% do not know what their cost of goods are. But in the same question down at the bottom of the survey, Amelia, they all said they know how to properly charge for their product.
Hmm.
No, you don't.
If you don't know what your cost is,
How are you going to price
how do
your
you price
product?
appropriately? That's true.
Legit.
Okay, so are you saying that you feel like everybody should use a box mix? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying if you, no, to answer your question, I'm
Okay.
saying if you can find the niche market out there, demographically, logistically, and honestly physically, and you can create that niche to where you can make a. It comes down to being able to understand your cost and your overhead so that you can provide that kind of product in a sustainable marketplace. All right? If you can do that, hats off to you.
Okay. So
If
basically, what you're saying is, for the average market of people, the average cake decorator that's just wanting to, get their product out there and make as many cakes as they can, it's probably just the best idea to use a box and be on the safe side. But if you really want to create this, like you said, this specific niche of people that are willing to pay for that higher end product, then that's something that is a possibility.
look, I'm not like picking on that group at all because if you can do it, it's all I care about. This is what I care about in the end. Are you profitable? Are you valuing what you do?
Hmm.
Are you making money on what you have chosen to be, on who you've chosen to be, on what product you've chosen to put out there? Are you making money? Are you driving this industry down because you don't know what the hell you're doing? That's the question I come out with, like on from 10,000 feet up. I don't care what widget you're selling, and I don't care how you make the widget. I want to know that there's a 35% profit on every widget that comes out of your hands. And I don't care if it's from scratch. I think you're going to be hard pressed to make a scratch cake and get 35 to 50% profit on it every time consistently. That is the thing, and I am happy to challenge anyone to do it. And if you do, I want to know because I want to learn how that's done so that we can then educate that group of consumers and artists who want to be that person.
Hmm.
I
Well,
mean,
and there are some great ways out there in the industry that are well known for taking a box mix and making it amazing
listen,
and just as good as, the from scratch.
it really, honestly, they have developed such amazing products that, and by the way, I don't get anything from any of them. You can't even buy Duncan Hines, wholesale. You have to buy it through a retailer. And Pinnacle Foods will send you coupons, by the way. I probably shouldn't. They'll send you a free coupon. Just saying. Because I'm living proof. I mean, I've done some scratch cakes. I've done lots of scratch cakes. I've even taken clients on that really want a scratch cake. I don't tell them it's boxed. It never comes up, honestly. It's a cake in front of them. They taste it. They like it. I sell it. All right? And I sell it for what it costs, and so that I can make a living. So and I have sold scratch cakes, but there's a charge to it. There's an upcharge to that. It can't be $3.25. By the way, holy crap! Nobody that is watching this, I don't care who you are, I don't care what level you're at, if you're selling a cake, there is not a cake out there. Well, there's a few exceptions because some of the things you guys are putting out there is crap. But there's really not a cake out there that is not worthy of $4 to $4.50 a serving. There's not. If you're a professional cake baker, designer, whatever, and you've even had a class, one Wilton class, a two Wilton class, or a private classroom, you better be charging $4.25 minimum for anything you're producing.
Okay, so how do you address those people because this is a question that has just come up in our chat, is how do people in rural areas charge for this?
Y'all, I hear that all the time.
I know.
The thing is, I'm in a rural area. I grew up in a rural area. I grew up in a town of 5,000 people. But guess what? Within an hour of my area, and most areas, if you're in the land of the living, there's a metropolitan city. There's a city that have weddings. There's people that are doctors and lawyers and entertainers, and there's a to put some numbers on it. I just did a research study in this country in 5 areas of the country, in each corner and in the Midwest. And the average wedding cake this is on average too, okay? And I've got specific numbers, but on an average, what I found was there's less than 5% of the people out there that are planning weddings and are paying for weddings, and they usually run from about 25,000 up to about 38,000 is the average wedding around this country. That's the average wedding. So that's got all of the platinum weddings and all of the hee-haw weddings is what I call them. So you've got all of those mixed in there, but less than 6% of the people that are spending money on a wedding cake or dessert in this country spend more than $1,000. Less than 6% spend more than $1,000 on a cake. 5 to 8% spend between $700 and $900, and the majority of the consumers that are purchasing custom cakes and desserts are in that market of between $500 and $700, $450 to $700. So what that tells me is that none of us who are custom cake designers who are providing a product, custom cake means it's a product you can't get at the supermarket. It's a product that they're doing for a special occasion, a celebration, or something that has emotional attachment to them. That's why they want it to be special. That's why they want it to be, that's why they're willing to pay more. And so it's what you can't get in your supermarket in that rural area. You've got to go to somebody that's under cottage law, or somebody that's baking from home that's been skilled, that's been taught, that's been trained to construct a cake that is tiered, or to make gum paste flowers, or to do royal piping, because they can't get that at their supermarket. And by the way, there's people out there every day in these rural areas that make money and then drive to the metropolitan cities even 100 miles just to go shopping for a day. So I don't want to hear that excuse anymore. It's an excuse. It's an excuse. And if you're not doing it, like if you're not successful in your area, it's time to say when. And if you can't hold yourself apart in a thoughtful way that people are drawn to you to pay whatever it costs for you to charge, then it's time to stop. That's the point on that. If you can't charge what it costs, why the heck are you doing it? And if you are okay with that, then be quiet. I don't want to hear it. Stay off Facebook. Stop criticizing me. No. I'm serious. Stop criticizing me. Stop criticizing people like me out there that are, I can't charge that because I'm in a rural area. Then stop doing cakes. Because I have sold cakes in rural areas my entire career. And the way I do that is that I put a product out there that they can't say no to. I set myself apart from anything they can find anywhere else, and that's the key in this industry. And it changes by season. It changes by season, it changes by wedding show, it changes by cake show, because there is something new and something shiny just around the corner that everyone is doing. Right now it's wafer flowers. Last year it was lace, and the year before that was burlap, and all. There's something new and something shiny, and you've got to stay commercially relevant, and you've got to know your cost of doing business, which encompasses a lot of things. Yeah. I mean, and by the way, I say this, BMW don't change their prices just because you can't afford it. Think about that. You walk into a BMW or Mercedes dealership and you say, I want a BMW. Well, this is the cost. You can haggle with them a little bit, but ultimately you're going to pay whatever it is that it costs to get a BMW, right? Mm-hmm. They're not going to change their prices because you can't afford it. And those type of cars including Ford. Ford too. Ford was one of the people in the industry a few years back during the recession that didn't have to be bailed out. And they didn't have to be bailed out by the federal government because they did not compromise on the quality of their product, that they were very, very clear about what it cost to produce and what it cost to sell.
Mm-hmm.
And you are the BMW of cakes if you are a custom cake designer. And you should never compromise on your product or on your price, and you should never, ever apologize for it. But you've got people in this industry that do not value themselves as human beings or the skill set that they've taken on. So if they don't value themselves, how in the hell are they going to value their product that they're trying to sell to consumers that are uneducated? It's a horrible, horrible, horrible cake flu.
I agree completely. Okay, so this is the moment. This is your Oprah moment right here.
Oh,
we really, really, really need to drive this point home, because this is the main reason why I wanted you here today. I want people to know that this is the problem, and this right here is the people not valuing other people's opinions and taking it personally. It is not a personal issue. And I just go.
I will try really hard not to get emotional about this, because this, I think, really and truly is the crux of probably one of the most viral things in this business. I think this is one of the aspects and virtues that I was talking about, that among many, that this business is plagued with. People in this, and I have in my business class, it's an 8-hour class, but for 1 whole hour, we try to keep it an hour, it always runs over. I call it an Oprah session. We start talking about the philosophical aspects of this business. We get into the heart of and the meat of why you're doing what you're doing as a business person. Remember how I defined business earlier. Okay? Keep that in mind. Even if you're a hobbyist, but if you're charging, it's a business. You can call yourself a hobbyist if you want, but if you're a hobby, you do it for free. I mean, it costs you money, but it shouldn't cost everybody else money. So in this Oprah session, and I just kind of fell out in calling it that. What I really wanted to do is I really wanted everyone in class to really stop and think about why they're doing this industry. You know, why are you in this industry? Excuse me, what I've seen over all these years of me teaching and interacting with people, and believe me, I have met thousands and thousands of people through my experience and through television and through, cake, shows, and I've gotten to actually talk and speak and hold hands with people and really and truly put my arm around them and on their back and really listen to this. Many times in this industry, because of the nature of this industry, people go into it because they are seeking something positive for themselves. Many times, whether it be monetarily, whether it be emotional, whether it be doing something good for someone, people go into this industry because they can find something that they're good at. And then they can get affirmation from the people they love by doing something good for them or doing something good for themselves. And there's not a thing wrong with that, because goodness begets goodness. I really believe that. Goodness begets goodness. So when you're doing something good for someone, there is not a thing wrong with that. It's heartwarming, and it makes you feel good inside, and it creates a sense of peace in most people. It creates a sense of success in most people when you get that affirmation back from someone. That's why that premise of taking a plate of cookies to a new neighbor or to a sick person or going to the hospital to visit someone, we get as much out of doing that for people as we get back from the people. Does that make sense? The people that we're visiting or that we're sending that plate of cookies to are enjoying the cookies, but we're getting back, thank you so much. That is so nice of you. That is very, very kind. All right? It's the same notion, I believe, from my experience and what I know about this and the people in this industry, people seek out and do most of their work for free, or they give away their work because they don't really value what they're doing, whether it's from an educational standpoint because they don't understand the business or cost of goods or overhead or cost of doing business in general, or they're doing it because they're seeking that self-affirmation back from their customers, and that's enough. You know, they're either single moms, they're grandmas, they're wives whose kids have graduated, moved out of the house many times. Amelia, you know what I'm talking about. We have these people sitting in our classes every day. Mm-hmm. The same woman, different face, but the same lovely woman that's sitting there with us that we absolutely adore. And by the way, I adore this industry and the people in it. So I'm not being critical here. I'm just I'm just expressing something that I've witnessed over and over again. I don't want you all, I don't want to be emotional about this, but I've had people sit in my class by the end of that hour and they're in tears because they are working so hard. They're putting their heart and soul into this craft that is absolutely the most beautiful work I've ever seen. And it's coming out of the ends of their hands. And they're going to bed at night and exhausted because they're creating these beautiful works of art out of sugar. And all they're getting back for it is, thank you so much. That's not enough, you all. You do not need to seek your affirmation for your work with a thank you. Not if you're in business. If you're a grandma and you're making your grandkid's birthday cake, that's enough. But if you're in business and you're trying to put money in your kids' pockets for milk money the next day, or you're trying to pay your light bill, that is not enough. And you don't deserve it. Because you aren't valuing yourself for whatever reason. For the love of all that's holy in cake, at least value yourself and value what you are producing and what your work stands for. You deserve it, and you deserve to be paid for it. And you should never apologize for it. Stop making excuses for your work. It's good work. It may not be master level, it may not be perfect, but it's the start of good work. I hope that resonates with you, because this happens in every single class. And it's a mixture of not understanding cost and not understanding business and how to run a business, but also not being confident in what you're selling. Oprah says this: you got to put air into your own horn and blow. Nobody else is going to put that air in there. I just judged 34 wedding cakes at Cake Fest. I had one girl, the cake was lovely. All right? The majority of all the cakes were absolutely phenomenal there.
They were.
Amazing artists, from the beginners to intermediate to advanced to masters. They were amazing in every category. My category with Dawn was wedding cakes. And this one girl wrote on her wedding, on the description, because we don't know anything. We haven't seen anyone that sets it down. We know nothing, and I mean that. We know nothing, and that's the way it should be, so that we're not biased. But this one girl has this lovely cake there, but on the back of her cake, she wrote all the things that were wrong with her cake and apologized. And I'm like, girl, you are killing me. Stop apologizing. You pointed out things that I probably would have never seen. Your clients are not going to look with the same eyes that you are looking at as an artist, as an experienced cake person, and I mean experienced by meaning the beginning of a cake person, okay? You have a different eye. I mean, if it's unlevel, come on now. I mean, and don't draw anybody's attention to it. By the way, you'll create havoc and chaos at that event because Aunt Sue's over here watching every little thing and just waiting to and create an explosion of chatter. That's a side note lesson there. Don't. This is the most beautiful cake I have ever seen. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful opportunity to work with you. Have a great event. Get out. That's not to be deceptive. It's just that they're not looking at the work and the details the way we do. And especially me, like it's cake porn for me. I'm looking at like every single thing, and that's why I love judging, because I get to notice. But she was pointing out things I probably would have never noticed, and she was apologizing for it. We can't apologize for what we do. We can't apologize for what we charge. I know it's expensive. I'm really sorry, but no. You've got to be confident women. You are empowered. This is one of the ways that you are empowered. That's where all that emotion comes from. This is an opportunity as a cake artist, as a woman, as even a man, okay, to become empowered and do something great and something good and something you can be proud of and something that you can gain from monetarily and that your family can benefit from. I had a client day before yesterday telling me, I want to do this, but I'm afraid that I'm going to risk it for my family. I'm going to take too big of a risk for my family. And I'm like, you're taking too big of a risk for your family now. You've been given an amazing talent that you could probably produce money to enrich your family's life in a way that you wouldn't do if you didn't do anything. And by the way, if you're owning your own cake shop or you're owning your own business, you're an entrepreneur. And entrepreneurs have to take risks. And if you're not willing to take risks every single day by pushing yourself to try a new technique or stack a cake or deliver a cake stacked or whatever it might be, you are in the wrong business.
Absolutely. It's part of it's part of us. We have to try.
And it is stressful. Oh my gosh, it is stressful. I had some years taken off. Look, you see these tractor through those wrinkles, and I ain't got no hair anymore, and that's from owning a cake shop. That's from being on TV and owning a cake shop. That's what there ain't enough Botox in Tennessee to cover this crap. I don't know how to get through to my lovelies out there who are absolutely incredible people, incredible artists, who love their craft, who are so good at their craft, who a lot of them I want to be half as good as. I want to be half as good as most of the people I come in contact with. And for them to devalue themselves and to not charge what's adequate and to not really value themselves as women in so many ways, it hurts my heart so, so badly. I want to help you, but the only way I can help you is if I'm really honest with you and I educate you. But not only that, I can't change what's inside your heart and your mind. I can influence it. I can plant the seeds for you to grow as a person. But the point is, please do not seek out your personal affirmation through your work. Because there ain't no wedding cake I have ever done, including Martha Stewart, including Miranda Lambert's. I have to give out a shout out to Ashley Jones and Mary Carmen Del Rio, because they helped me with that cake, by the way. And that was an experience. I mean, we were in the middle of San Antonio, in the middle of nowhere, in a field, producing a 6-tiered wedding cake. It's crazy. My point is, when I sat with Miranda, and I've sat with Martha, and I've sat with all these people, when I've sat and done their tastings, and Sarah Evans, and I've sat with Colette, and I've sat with the people that I love and respect so much in this industry, the one thing I don't seek out is self-affirmation. it's really nice to have a compliment from those people and to be recognized for what I do. But personally, I don't let that drive my soul. I have to find that from my family and my friends and the people who I know and love and who know and love me back. That's where I seek that affirmation from. I can't let those two, you know, I can't let them cross over. It's okay to say gracefully say thank you when someone pays you a compliment, and that's as far as it needs to go. And even if you get we were going to talk a little bit about email etiquette and communication. And this is a good segue, I think, because if you get a client, and you're going to have one eventually, you're going to have one, and you're going to have two, and you're going to have three. The first thing I want to say to you, if you have a disgruntled client that you've produced work for, and they come back and they're not happy, you need to ask yourself a few questions. Did they have buyer's remorse before they started? Before they signed the contract? Were they nickel and diming you to death? Because if they are, that's a red flag for you. I'll say, I'm not the baker for you. Okay? Because you're going to have problems in the end. It doesn't matter how good of a job you've done, they're probably going to have buyer's remorse. Buyer's remorse is very strong. It outweighs will and it outweighs want. Okay? Buyer's remorse outweighs. When it's said, and it's really easy to have buyer's remorse after you eat that cake. And it's gone. There ain't nothing to show for it. Okay?
Yep.
Really easy. But especially like for a wedding cake or a special occasion cake, where that cake is such a prominent aspect of that event, before you respond to that client, first of all, remember what the experience was with that client to begin with. What's your relationship with that client? What was the environment like? What was the climate like when you were meeting with that client? Think about that first. Secondly, think about really and truly at this point, what can you do? Ask yourself, what can I do now to make this client happy? The wedding's over, the first birthday's over, the sweet 16's over, quinceañera's done, everybody's gone home, everybody's had cake, or they didn't, even if they didn't like it. You can't go back and reproduce that cake or that event. So be very thoughtful in the way you respond to a disgruntled client. Whether it's buyer's remorse, whether it wasn't the right color of peach, or the right color of teal, or if it was buttercream and it should have been fondant, or it was late, or whatever, if they received what you gave them, and they partook of it, and they accepted it, which is good business practices, and there's methods to be able to be able to protect yourself with all these things. And then they call you back 3 or 4 days later or after the honeymoon and say, I'm just not happy with my cake, but here's the reasons why. More than likely, they're going to spill out a long list of blah, 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 blah. It's going to be a long email or a very uncomfortable phone call. And I'm going to tell you the first thing you do is you sleep on it. You don't ever respond immediately, ever. Even if you're talking to them on the phone, the best way to respond with them is, notice I'm not going to say I'm sorry for not giving you what you ordered, because if you did your job, you probably did give them what you felt was their order. I apologize for the lack of communication or the failure in communication. That's what you're apologizing for. Let me think about this, and I will get back with you. And any reasonable person is going to accept that statement to you. And if they're not reasonable and they're not willing to accept that statement, you need to really be quiet. Okay? A fish that don't open its mouth never gets caught. So I encourage you to sleep on it. And then I encourage you to write out whatever it is, not in an email, but in a Word document. Write out everything you want to say to them, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, and save it to your computer. And then go back and the next day and write a response in less than 10 words, in 10 words or less, of how you can make the situation right. Be very thoughtful, and if you can't do it in 10 words or less to respond to a conflict, don't respond until you can. Verbally, same thing. I would advise you as well, don't respond to anything verbally. And if you're going to respond in writing, remember it's recorded forever. I think that's probably some of the most sound advice I was ever given. And the way I typically respond to a disgruntled client in an email would be, how may I make you happy? And I wait for their response. Because if you're very distinct in your reaction, you'll get a reaction back. And it's usually something that you can actually do. But you've got to be very distinct in your communication with them and asking them specifically, what can I do to make you happy at this point? You know, they're going to let you know. And if they can't let you know, then there's nothing you can do about it. Does that answer?
Yeah. What if they come back with the response of, I want a full, complete refund?
No.
There you go.
Did you eat the cake? Did you eat the cake? I have asked that question. Well, yes. Then no. You're not getting a full refund. People will try that with you too. All right? They'll eat the cake, the party's over, it's been 3 days, 4 days, they get their credit, or it's been a month and they get their credit card bill and they're like, oh, this really wasn't worth it. That's buyer's remorse. That's the epitome of buyer's remorse. I want a full refund. It's not what I ordered. Bring the cake back, and I will happily give you a full refund.
Yep. And that's the way it should be.
They're not going to bring that cake back. You know what? They're going to eat that cake.
Yeah, man, we could talk for hours and hours, but we are over time, and we do have to get to the giveaway because this is the huge part.
Now.
So, no, seriously, everybody here, I've been watching the comments come through, and I'll share with you the link, Jay, so that you can come back and look at all these comments. But so many people just, you know, thanking you so much, and all the amens that you can imagine, because, you know, it is the truth. It is the cake truth. We really need this, and there's so much more that you have to share. Like you said, you have the business background. You know, some people. There were a couple of questions about, you know, marketing plans and things like that. You know, that's stuff that we couldn't get into today, but through a consultation with you, Jay, you guys could actually get, you know, all of that information. And these consultations are customized to you and your business, and he really does go above and beyond and create a situation where you can grow, and you can, whether you're a beginner or whether whether you've been doing this for 20 years, you know, you need to have something that is going to help you to reach that next level, or you know, maybe you've actually had some successes. That would be wonderful. But there's always more to improve on. So,
you know, the cool part about this industry is, and I'm living proof of this, is that, you know, if your goal is to be published in a magazine, it's doable. If your goal is to do a superstar's wedding, it's doable. If your goal is to get on television for what you do, it's doable. Or even not what you do, because I'm not a cook, but I got cast on TV as a cook. Okay? I'm just saying, I'm not a cook, but I played one on TV. And I can cook, but I can't cook like that. But my point is, it's doable. It's all, you got to make up, and I don't take excuses.
Oh, that's exactly what it needs to be.
And I don't, and I want, and the whole goal for this is, and the reason I started to do this and doing the consults and doing the 1-hour consults on the phone or through Google Hangout like this. It's good because, and I don't go look at your work beforehand, because I don't think it is, I think it makes me a little biased when I look at your work and I form an opinion before I get to know who you are as a business person or an artist. So I'm doing this because I want everybody. I want to build everyone up in this industry and educate not only the consumer but the professional, and bring you into what you want to be, whatever that is, whatever the goal is. If you want to just put your kids through college, the only way we're going to do that is to bring this business to the forefront of what it needs to be, and charge what it costs to make a profit. You've got to do the work.
Yep. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, I've got a link here. It is way too long, way too long. Look, I'm gonna make a pretty link really fast, or like a shorter link for you.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Sorry, I didn't even think about the fact that it was going to be way too long.
That's
so
all right.
Let me get this set up for you.
I'm eating sour balls and drinking coffee.
All right, but in the meantime, okay, so you guys, while I'm making this link, I'm so sorry. Give me just a minute.
It's okay. It's live TV.
How about you go ahead and talk for a minute? I need to take care of this.
You want to go swallow and choke and? Well, it's not the first time I've made people cry or get all choked up. What do I want to talk about? Let's talk about pricing per serving a little bit. We didn't touch on that, and we can do that while she's doing this. I did say a little bit about everything that we're charging. If you have any skill set whatsoever, you should be charging at least $4 to $4.50 a serving. Cupcakes, there ain't a cupcake out there. Well, there may be, but you need to at least charge $3 a serving for a cupcake. In my opinion, a cupcake is as much as a cake serving. And by far, there's certainly way more work that goes into a cupcake serving than there is a cake serving. I can produce 100 cupcakes, and it'll take twice as long to produce 100 individual cupcakes than it does to produce 100 servings all at once. When you're icing a cake that serves 100, and you're splitting and filling and shaving and doing all that stuff and finishing it, you're touching that really 3-4 times. When you're doing a cupcake for 100 people, you're touching it 100 times 3 or 4. So, in my opinion, a cupcake is just as valuable as a cake serving. And when we somehow think that the smaller they are, like a cake pop or a cupcake, the consumers think the smaller it is. Well, it's cheaper to do cupcakes. It's not cheaper to do cupcakes because you're touching those cupcakes 20 times. And that's if it's just a regular cupcake with a swirl in it and a filling. The smaller, the more expensive, in my opinion.
I'm so glad you got to touch on that. That was one thing we wanted to talk about and didn't get to. So I'm glad I got a tick in my throat. It was all for a reason, right? Okay, so.
Also, I want to tell them I have some really good news to share. I filmed a show with me and Gravy Soriano for TLC back around Christmas, and that's going to air, and it's called Extreme Destination Weddings or something like that, and it's going to be a hoot.
That sounds like so much fun.
Crazy person. Surprise. But it's going to air sometime this summer, I think. They're finishing editing right now, and I'm sure there'll be promos and things like that. And I want you guys to watch. I think it's going to be fun. And the weddings, I think, were based on Pinterest. To talk about that, just a touch. You know, it's really interesting. When they called me to do this show, they picked a bride in East Tennessee, and we're doing it in the mountains, and it's crazy. There's 3 weddings. I can't say much about it, but we're doing one that's in the mountains, and they sent a picture that they didn't know was mine because they pinned it from someone else's board. The cake was actually my cake. Oh. That I know, it's the Enchanted Forest cake. It's on Pinterest, and she literally picked my cake, and I had already been cast for the show. So, but she didn't know that. She didn't know it was my cake until we did a consult via Skype.
That's awesome.
And I do. By the way, I do wedding consultations for cakes via Skype and Google Hangout and FaceTime. Yeah, it works.
Smart.
I did one last year. One of my girls showed up at the office with the cakes and the tasting, for them to taste. We designed her entire cake on the balcony in Hawaii. When I was in Hawaii, I did my iPad. I have an app. And we designed her cake, and I sent her a PDF of the cake as we sketched, and I held it up, and she looked at it. She loved this. She loved that. We did an entire wedding consultation via FaceTime.
That is, I love that.
Times
That's
are
so
changing.
cool.
And look, the brides love this. Busy women, the brides are changing. That's going to be a topic on Cake Crumb soon.
Yeah.
The face of your consumer is changing dramatically, especially for weddings, and for moms who are doing first birthdays. It's changing dramatically, not just from a financial standpoint, but from a social standpoint.
Yeah. Okay, so giveaway. We've got to hurry and get this giveaway to here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to choose a winner for this giveaway.
We're doing it right now?
We are going to do it right now. We're going to do it right now. So what I want you guys to do is, I know, isn't this fun?
I'm excited.
So we are going to do, go to Amelia at CakeFu.com. This is email. You're going to email me, Amelia at CakeFu.com. And here, I'll put it up for you. There you go. Amelia at CakeFu.com. And what I want you to put in this email is a pledge. This is going to be the way that we're going to choose our giveaway, but I also want all of you guys to make a promise. And I want you to pledge, I want you to say, whatever your name is, promise that I will never charge anything less than $4 a serving per cake. And that's how we will choose our winner.
Yes.
So you've got to make that pledge if you want the consultation with Jay, because that's what it's going to take. That's really what it's going to take.
And I'm going to be watching you to see if you actually do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so
it's an amazing thing.
Yeah, so I'll give you guys a minute to send that email to me. Again, Amelia at CakeFu.com. Send me a pledge that you guys will promise to only charge no less than $4 per serving on the cake from here on out. And then Jay, if you want to pick a number, let's do 1 through. I know we have lots of people on this call.
How many people do we have on this call?
You know, I could find that out really fast.
I'm just curious.
I could find out. But yeah, if you want to pick out a number, maybe 1 through 10 or 20, so that we don't have to count forever. But we'll count that. And
write it down. You know what? Let me write it down. Let's make it fair. I'll write down a number.
Okay. Okay. And then I've got a link for you guys.
Okay, so look, here's the blank page.
Okay.
Between 1 and what?
Let's go 1 and 20. Because there's a lot of people that are sending in emails, so.
Okay. All right. Ready?
Okay. Let me pull this up really fast. You wanted to know how many people are on the call today. We have 609 people on today.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Hey, 609 people.
Yeah. Yep. And throughout the day, we usually get at least 2 or 3 times that. So, for the replays.
Is it available to watch afterwards too? Is there a rebroadcast?
It is. Yes, it is rebroadcast. You can just watch it anytime. So
I'll share that on my pages as well. I'll share the link with you guys so you can go back and watch it if you know somebody and you want to share it with other people. Please do, and please tag CakeFu and Amelia and myself, and anyone else that you can tag President Obama or Martha. Hey, Martha watches because she retweets. Like I tweeted a picture of my little dog in one of her beds, and my little pug, and of her new bed, and it was a Martha Stewart bed, and she retweeted.
Oh, how fun is that? Hey.
Oh, I know. And
hashtag Martha Stewart.
Hashtag Martha. No, really. You know, it's good to help each other out that way and in a thoughtful way, and that's exactly what social media is.
Yeah.
is to be thoughtful and not hateful, which that's hate.
Yeah.
You ever get this from me? You know I'm judging you.
All right. So,
You ready?
yeah, you want to go ahead and pick the number?
The number is
12. Okay. Number 12. Okay, and I love that hashtag cover your boards. That's awesome. Okay, so while I'm finding email number 12, I want you guys to follow the link right here. Here, I'm going to actually take out the HTTP so it fits better.
they know. He's so good at this because it would take me a week to do that part probably.
All right, there we go. Oh, that didn't do it. Here we go. There we go.
There it is.
www.cakefu.com/willow-tree. Willow Tree Consulting is Jay's business, so his consultation business.
On the branches, on the services for those are just a branch 1, branch 2, branch 3. It's very generic. I had to put something out there to give somebody, give you guys some insight into what we do. So that's all customizable for whatever level you're at or whatever position you're at in your business. Whether you want to converge on a boutique style bakery, or you want to stay at home but you want to grow, or you want to become a cottage baker, under cottage law, all that's doable. There's several people out there that's already part of it, but I'll be honest with you, it's not easy. I'm not easy on you. I'm going to ask you some really, really hard questions.
Oh, and that's what's needed. That's really what is needed. So this right here, the Willow Tree Consulting package that Jay has put together for us, just for CakeFu. Yay! Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
$150 for this consultation. Amazing. You will not regret it. Every penny is worth it. But we're sweetening the deal for you guys, and anybody that is here today watching this, if you use the promo code, let me make sure I get this right, Cake Crumbs. Promo code Cake Crumbs, CAKECRUMBS. At checkout, we'll get $30 off of that. So huge. This is huge, and we all need this. We all need this.
I assure you, in that hour, you and have your questions ready so that you can take the most benefit from that hour conversation with me, because you will be timed. I'm not going to go over the hour, and you are timed. I'm happy to invoice you if you need me to do that as well, and I assure you, it's worth $150. I can save you $150 in probably 3 tips that you're questioning. So
I absolutely. I mean, yeah. I completely am with you on that one. So again, cakefu.com/Willow Tree, and take advantage of that. Again, the promo code on that is Cake Crumbs, which is Jay's little show thing that he does. He's driving in his car, does his little videos. They're so entertaining and so good information.
I promise the phone is mounted too. I'm being very safe. If I wreck during a cake conference, during Cake Crumbs, would someone please send it to TMZ so that I can at least get some publicity out of it?
Awesome. Okay, so winner. We have a winner picked.
Yay! I can't wait.
And I have to add in here that we have over 50 emails that have come in promising me, and promising Jay. So, and yourselves, this is your pledge. You will never charge less than $4 a serving ever again. Ever again.
You really shouldn't.
Yeah. Okay, so our winner is, drum roll, name is Melissa Callaghan. So Calegan. Callaghan, I believe. So anyway, yay! Congratulations, Melissa.
Congratulations, Melissa. If you'll email me at j@willowtreeconsulting.net, we will exchange, or private message me on Facebook. at J Qualls, we will exchange numbers, and we will schedule a time that we can have your consultation with me. And I'm flattered, and I'm feel very blessed that this is where my business has taken me, so that I can hopefully enrich you all from a business standpoint and an educational standpoint. And also personally, I really want to try to encourage you to do what you love and be great at it, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. You know, and I think that's the best thing about consultations from somebody like you that has the business background plus the confidence to instill in other people. I think that you will do amazing things in this industry, and I am so glad that I can be a part of it.
I'm so flattered that people are interested and willing to listen and trust me. And I don't know everything, but I really will try to find the answer if I don't know, and we'll work together to try to find answer. Because I don't pretend to know everything. I really don't. I'm learning something new every day through this process too. I'm building another business right here with all of this, and I don't know of anyone that's doing it in this industry at all. People do cake business classes, but they don't do it to the extent of building someone growing someone into what they're really trying to be as a whole. So, in every facet, working on a workbook, by the way, and a tips book. It's coming.
Very good.
Every day on it. It's really hard. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done.
I'm sure.
So I'm excited about the workbook. It's kind of just a hands-on guide for you digitally. Is what I'm hoping to do. Of the step-by-step process of how to run or develop a cake business. So it's coming. I'm hoping it's coming. I hope I can keep going and doing it. But it's a lot of work.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Jay, for coming. I know we went way over time, but it was so worth it. I am so glad we spent every minute here.
Oh my gosh, me too. I'm so grateful. Thank you for having me on CakeFu. I love and adore you personally and professionally.
Oh, thank
and
you.
You know that. And I want to say hi to everyone out there. Please be safe with this horrible weather. Here in the Midwest and the Southeast, we're getting bad weather again today. And bless you all. Please take care of each other and know your worth and cover your boards.
Love it, love it. In fact, I have, if you ever meet up with Jay, you have to get one of these. It is the most awesome pin in the world. There's too much of a glare on things.
Oh my God. I don't know who took that picture. That's a steal from TV. I'm ordering more buttons, by the way. If they're on order. We gave out every single one at Cake Fest, but I'm ordering more buttons, so you'll have some more buttons with my face on them.
Perfect.
Thank you again so much. I'm sorry we ran over, but
oh no, you know what? I think that everybody will appreciate all of the information that is on here, regardless of how long it was. It's worth every minute. So thank you so much, Jay, for coming. Thank you, everybody that came and listened.
Oh yes, I am. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate it very much. And we're gonna make this all even better than it already is. I know we are smart enough to do it, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for us all.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, everybody have a wonderful, safe day. Keep warm, and we'll see you guys all next time. And don't forget to go check out Willow Tree Consulting.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Bye, everybody.
All right, bye.